basketball, we'd have this bus that we didn't even think it would make it, but it eventually would. But it was those times when you're in the bus before the games and then after the games. Of course, coming back if we'd lost, it's not as much fun. But I think it's that camaraderie that you gain in those high school years that are just fabulous years that I remember as my most favorite.
Most outstanding moments in terms of my board participation and so on was to kind of oversee the transition that occurred between WIAA and WOA, with WOA ultimately becoming their own separate entity.
In the early days, in the 70s and 80s, I coached both boys and girls at that time, and we had Christmas clinics that we put on, and the fun thing about that was that the kids worked very hard for 5 days putting on this clinic. It was one of the biggest ones on the West Coast, and they had to do all the work. It really drew the kids together as a team and provided them with some great memories.
I had a pep rally at Puyallup, and they asked me to come talk to them. I got there, and the first thing they did was this guy dressed up in Puyallup gear and carrying a big paper sword or something, came over and tapped me on both shoulders and explained to me that they couldn't have anybody from Renton speaking in their celebration, so they had to make me a Viking for the day.
High school swim coaches group has been talking for years about gathering a Hall of Fame for swimming and getting it going. And that first year group to me was certainly one of the very most memorable moments.
I look back and I remember the team of 1953, 1960, 66 and 67. They're all memorable moments.
My senior year, we played against Garfield for the city championship in Seattle. It was an interesting game in that there were 12,000 people in the stands. It turned into a situation at the end, we were tied 14-14. And the game went on, the game went on, the game went on. We went into 4 overtimes at a time that high school sports in Seattle was really a premier focus on Friday nights.
The stories that we tell about the high school athletes of today and yesterday are fantastic, and I think they need to be told, and we will continue to do it.
People continue to make high school activities a top priority when it comes to the involvement and entertainment in what they do in their everyday lives. Especially in these challenging economic times, the effort of these participants still stands out as the best value around. And there's no way high school activities could have reached a level of popularity that it has without the contributions of today's inductees.
This one, hard hit ball into center field, and a great catch.
Well, I think that in high school you go through these different growth periods, mentally, emotionally, and physically. Those types of growth periods that you go through, along with the social aspect, are really so important. And they were times that I think I remember as my most significant.
I like to have the beginning kids who have never had a chance to be on a team before. And I always worked with those kids a lot because I felt that this was their opportunity to become part of a cohesive group and a team atmosphere that they may not have had in other aspects of their life.
You know, the fact that they're involved in something in high school and something that's aesthetic and something beautiful, I think is our most important task as music educators. And if they go on in music, that's fantastic. I just hope that they go on to be great listeners and that they enjoy music throughout their entire lives.
Track really put me on the fast track to go to Division I school, and it gave me direction, and it's just wonderful.
Say probably my high school basketball coach. She was a pioneer for women's athletics, for girls athletics and girls sports, and she fought like crazy. And I don't think I truly appreciated the fight that she did for all the girls. But she also had tremendous faith and belief in you, and I think I took that. She kind of probably believed in me sometimes more than I believed in myself.
I asked the girls, or I expected of the girls to give 100% effort in anything that they did. We, worked it so that they had an opportunity to play, but they could also play to the best of their ability, and that was important because girls never had the opportunity, to participate in athletics, and so now they had this opportunity, and I wanted to say that they had fun.
So I played for coaches that believed in women's sports. I played for school districts that believed in girls having an opportunity to play, and I was the recipient of that. And I stand here today because those people were willing to do that and make that stand and be the ones to fight for me.
Well, it's just wonderful to see how many girls are participating in athletics now, enjoying what they're doing and having fun. And for those of us who have been in the field for a long, long time, it's a joy for us to see that girls were now able to compete. And so I do thank you very much for giving us that opportunity.
Well, what makes the meet cross country, the whole team special is the tradition. You can go back to the early 70s with Dwayne Hartman, and continued on with Tom Buckner, and obviously with Pat Tyson, who was very instrumental in establishing the traditions we have now. When I took over for him 4 years ago,
I'd say there was a moment in which we were ranked #1 in the United States, and we went to a competition in Eastern Oregon, and a team knocked us off. Something like 30-90. So we had a meeting, and basically we said enough is enough. We're going to go after it the rest of the year. We're going to go undefeated, and we're going to give it our best, and there'll be no excuses. So roughly 12 weeks later, we met that team again in California, and we beat them 30-90. And so that was a really cool memory, and I know those kids that were part of that have never forgotten it.
We became a little larger than life, and it's an honor to be able to be here and show that class of '93 picture down below here, because all those guys got college degrees. They weren't going to get them if it wasn't for high school athletics, and they're going places. And thank you guys, and again, honored guests and honorees here, thank you for letting us be a part of this Meade High School. Thank you.
Please welcome our first coach inductee, Mr. Frank Ahern, ladies and gentlemen. This is a great man right here.
Yeah, Frank expected a lot of his athletes. He was extremely well-versed technically in every event, hurdles, pole vault, distances. He produced champion athletes at every level, and he really would be someone who would get the best out of you. I mean, whether you were a champion or an also-ran like me, he was able to get the best out of you. You know, he produced championship basketball players as well as track athletes. I mean, he could really coach anything. I'm sure he could have coached curling if they had asked him to.
When they mention wife, well, you got the best of all. Thank you.
You can't have too much more fun than you do at sports.
Well, teamwork is very, very important, and you got to do everything, conquer your selfish desires for the betterment of the team.
I think sportsmanship's another piece. You know, it's such a part of your life to understand how to be part of a team, what your role is. You know, you can't do it without everybody else involved.
I think it sets a tone for them in their school years. There's things like discipline or responsibility, teamwork, time management, and getting them to emphasize their studies.
You need to enjoy the moment. One of the things that I look back on that I wish I would have done more is I wish I would have enjoyed the journey more, because those goals are great, but if you're just into living your life to check off goals, then when you look back, you're going to wonder if you really enjoyed the moment as much as you should have. So my advice to young people today is enjoy the moment, because it passes very quickly.
You know, learn from your mistakes, learn where you went wrong, but yet always have that goal in mind. And the other thing would be to definitely seek out mentors. I think in the high school level, it's you don't have enough mentors. You don't have enough people you can look up to, people that have succeeded in your event or, you know, other things in life. So definitely seek mentors.
That value of school programs and the way that we help kids grow together is going to continue to be extremely important to our schools, our communities, and to our country, and to our part that this great country plays in the world. Congratulations to all of you folks. You make it all worthwhile. Thanks.